Welcome back to the Apprentice reviews. And this is the final, so it's my last ever review. So we'll be back again in 10 months. And it's just shocking how we've gone through all these weeks, we've progressed throughout all the time, 10 weeks, and now going from 16 candidates 12 weeks ago, doing 10 tasks, one interview stage, and now 11 weeks gone by, and now we've only got 2 candidates left, and all the 16 candidates have battled it out, and some failed, while some shone with success, while others just ultimately crumbled. So, after doing 10 tasks and 11 fired candidates, and the final five last week went over for interviews, and the 3 who didn't shine through was Lottie, Lewis, and Pamela. And so, and the ones who got into the final was Scarlett and Karina. So, I always would have thought that Scarlett, she's done a lot more tenacity, whereas on paper, because Karina won 9 tasks and never got brought back into the boardroom, she's been a more stronger candidate. So, there's going to be a prize for the candidate, well, not a prize, but the winning candidate who's done the morning phone race competition. So, Scarlett this week, for the last ever week, was the one who did it to the phone. And so, the scores are for the phone race was Pamela got 1, Lubna got 1, Ryan Mark had 2, Lewis had 1, Gemlin had 1, Dean had 1, Thomas had 1, Karina had 1, Lottie had 1, and Scarlett had 1. So the winner is of that series Ryan Mark. So well done, Ryan Mark, for being the winning phone race contestant. He's finally won something, He's won one prize of the series. So well done to Ryan Mark. So they had to go to so Scarlett and Karina were going to the skyscraper building to meet Lord Sugar and Claude and Karen for the final task. And they had to brand, launch and pitch their business plans with a website, an advertising website. And here comes the big surprise. 8 friends are back to help them. Gemlin, Ryan Mark, Thomas, Marianne, Dean, Lottie, Lewis and Pamela. So all those 8 contestants have come back, which is for the candidates who were fired in the first 6 weeks: Shaheen, Kenna, Solomon, Lubna, Ryan, Aisha. I don't know what's happened to them. I mean, Aisha's probably gone on a cycling holiday with sophisticated Sarah. The other 5, ever since week 5, ever since they got fired, they just decided to go down the pub, and they got drunk. So ever since week 5, so when they'd already left. So it's a shame, because on previous series they used to always do all the candidates come back, and now it's just 8 candidates come back. Yeah, because they used to just do all the candidates and 4 got picked each. Now it's just they just do 8 candidates just because it's easier. So it's time to pick teams, and the first one to pick their ex contestant is Karina, and her first choice is Pamela, who has really floated through and made it to first place with doing nothing. Next up, Scarlett gets the choice and picks Lewis, which makes a lot more sense. Then Karina goes, which is Thomas Skinner, which, you know, because she probably hasn't worked with Thomas, that's why. Then Scarlett goes again, and she goes for Marianne. So Thomas and Marianne are not going to work together anymore. Then the next one for Karina is Gemlin. And then it's the three. The three left, it's Lottie, Dean and Lewis. Dean was chosen. There was the three younger ones left. Dean was chosen by Scarlett. Then it's the dilemma, Ryan, Mark and Lottie, meaning that because they haven't worked on the tasks in their time, and they're the youngest candidates, only 19, they're not going to work on the final, so they'll never get that opportunity to work for each other. So, who will Karina pick? She picked Ryan Mark, knowing that Ryan Mark would have been better than Lottie. Then poor Lottie was the last one picked. That sucks quite badly. I mean, but, you know, I can see Lottie, you know, at sports teams at school, she would have been always the last one picked, so she's used to it. She knows what it's like, you know, to be always the last one picked, always the victim. So, Karina's business plan was an artisan bakery, while Scarlett, her business plan was this recruitment, and it was all about, the whole concept of it was all about women in the construction industry, because they basically did, and the adverts, you know, some of them was like, for the first shoot, it was because the sub teams the teams were divided like this. Karina went with Thomas because they haven't worked with each other, and then there was Ryan, Mark, Gemilyn and Pamela as sub team leader. Same team as the Finland one. Oh wow! Same team, but the advert never went with Ryan, Mark, and Gemilyn arguing again. And Pamela just doing nothing because Pamela was the sub-team leader and got to control Gemlin and Ryan Mark again. So that was, you know, while on the other team, their concept was basically Ryan Mark eating the bread, you know, and they didn't actually eat the bread, you know, because they just didn't want to give that, you know, give it all away to dislike him, you know. And also Thomas did very well with the advert because he actually explained the whole plot. I mean, Curran last year saved Sian from winning. That was like, you know, I mean, Curran actually saved Sian from, you know, I mean, Sian did do well, but I mean, you know, Curran was the actual ideal, you know, he was the one who saved Sian, you know, he really did so well. And then it was just the way he explained the story is like, Ryan Mark's been in prison because Ryan Mark's a naughty boy. We have the calendar, so the day he gets released and he finally gets to try and and good news is, Gemilyn was Ryan Mark's police cop. So they were able to, she was able to, you know, manage Ryan Mark, and yeah, 19, I think, you know, I can see any 19-year-old breaking the law. Although Ryan Mark, I don't know. I think Ryan Mark and Lottie look a bit old for their age. I'm not sure about Ryan. I don't know really with Ryan Mark. I mean, Ryan Mark reminds me of the daughter's boyfriend from The Sound of Music. I mean, Lottie, people say she's 49. I wouldn't say she looks 49. I think she looks, she does look older, but she wouldn't look 49. I'd definitely say she looks from 30 to 35. But she doesn't look 49. I mean, and when Karina asked Ryan Mark, how was the bread today, like, she didn't like it. And Karina, when she was doing, but Ryan Mark was joking, and then Karina, for her pitch, she was like really shaking. It was like so difficult, you know, it was really, she could not do it. And but she did it. It was just so much for her. It was so much pressure. They'd done 12 weeks of working. Meanwhile, for Scarlett's team, I didn't get it. I mean, they had Michaela Wayne come in to do the interview for being a female in construction, but I really didn't get it. There was Dean doing the directions to Lottie, being a new recruiter. Then they were doing a car driving scene, so I didn't really get any of it. None of it's really gotten. Scarlett, she was there with, interviewing Michaela Wayne and another woman, because they do a talk show now, so and Michaela Wayne even has back issues. I remember that. I remember she had back issues, and Solomon, he always had to have a seat. Karen had a seat, and she always had a seat last year. So, but yeah, and I mean, Scarlett was really good though during her pitch. I think they were both very good. It was very difficult because and even Lord Sugar did say it could be very difficult for with recruitment. I think Karina made the point that her business plan was investable because even with the industry experts it was very difficult, but then Karina made the real good point that actually it can be used for sensible things. Recruitment can be a waste of time, so it's time to get down to the boardroom and reminisce about some tasks, and then it's not the losers cafe for Thomas anymore. And then there's also the same Finland sub team that were doing the sub team for the launch in Finland, now doing the launch for Karina's bread. And yeah, it was just so they had the opportunity to decide, and they went for Karina. So Karina's been the 8th winner so far. I'm just going I'm going to say a bit of the best bits actually of the series. The funniest comment Lord Sugar's ever said. I remember the funniest comment because when they did the Tommy the Talking Turtle, he said to Solomon, "You're the opposite to Tommy the Talking Turtle. You push the button, tell everybody how crap they are." And then the other one was Shaheen with Shamstrad. I mean, that they were the funniest bits. I mean, I really like this series. It was a bit unfortunate how we didn't see many men. I think it was a bit different though because the men, were on the losing team twice, therefore, or 3 times, therefore the men went 3 times in a row. But it was very unlike last year, really, when it was 1 week of the boys and the girls. Really, after the girls had lost, the boys just kept getting fired, But I think that's just how the way it is, For the You're Hired show, I really didn't like the bit where they didn't actually get to interview the fired candidates in the audience, so that was a bit of a killer blower, but nevertheless I've enjoyed it, and I've enjoyed the You're Hired, and I like the bit with all the winners dancing at the start, because with Tom Allen it's all been very different. And the funny thing is that there's a candidate called Thomas, and there's also a candidate called Scarlett Allen, which is actually the same surname as Tom Allen, so it really it just links in hand. And also because Scarlett's middle name is Lily, so it's they tried to do Lily Horton, or Horton whatever, the brand name. It's just, it was really funny. I mean, the brand name, how they tried to give the name, and then I could just thought, you could do Scarlett and Alan, because Alan Sugar's the business partner, but then Karina had the brand name Leepo, which is actually, but then, and I think Karina really in the Rolls Royce gave a big speech about how she actually saw Lord Sugar and actually thought about going into investment. She's just sitting here, and it was between Scarlett and Karina, the tortoise catching the hare, because really I think although Karina was better on paper, Scarlett was really the best one, and then she just went slow and steady. Anyway, that's me done for 1 year. I will be doing in between now to the next 10 months other reviews on other series. I didn't do it much from 2018 to 2019 just because I hadn't had time to. I never really watched much TV. I definitely will be watching loads of TV in between from Apprentice 2019 to 2020. So yeah, and I've also found out that they're doing a Top Shop task next year. So I'm looking forward for next year, and I hope you all have a Merry Christmas. Thank you so much. Goodbye.